Alright, party people, last I left you I was fighting this dude Ammon, trying to get the win, and as you can see I just did. I imagine he has something to do with me being able to traverse the rest of this cave. But with that in mind, welcome back to another edition of Now Playing Divinity 2, the Dragon Knight Saga. Let's go ahead and sheathe that. Let's go ahead and recover a little bit of mana and a little bit of HP there before we cut these other monsters loose that we ran away from. So we were able to isolate him and handle him one-on-one, which made the battle that much more manageable. I'm actually going to talk to you guys for a second while I wait for my HP and MP to regenerate. Now, I can help the HP a little bit with that. I don't want to waste any mana potions that I may have. What you're going to find should you decide to play this game. So the last couple episodes we've been talking about how this game, you know, does have some instances where it's frustrating to go through the combat because you've gone through everything you can go through. You've sought out all of excuse me, you've sought out all of the enemies that you can fight. So as I've said many times throughout the series, and I like to repeat things because I assume that many people come into these series not at the first episode, or they may skip around, or they may have caught this on a website where somebody posted it. So to say this again, there's a finite number of monsters and enemies in this game. So what that means for the uninitiated when it comes to an RPG, when there's a finite number of enemies to fight, that means there's a finite amount of XP that you can get from said enemies to grow your character, which means your ability to grow your character throughout Divinity 2, the Dragon Knight Saga is somewhat handicapped. So the ebb and flow is you'll often spend a lot of time going on side quests or even main quests where you will encounter enemies that you can handle without a whole lot of struggle. They'll give you a respectable amount of HP in most cases and eventually allow you to level. But at some point, you'll come to these places where it's inevitable you're going to face something that is stronger than you are. And that's the way the game kind of fabricates the difficulty and creates tension. It kind of it lets you kind of have freedom, and then kind of shoves you into this place where you're just outmatched and you got to kind of fight and struggle your way through it, which, as I've said in almost every episode, save often, I'm about to get into a fight that I can see these folks are at least one level higher than me. And one level means a lot in this game. If I were one level higher than these things I'm getting ready to fight, it would not be a challenge whatsoever. I dropped them in 3, maybe 2 hits from these explosive arrows that I'm throwing out. So, and very soon I will be at the same level as these folks. I'm one level below that black ring ranger that you see there. I've shanked their boss, and now there's a healer somewhere in the camp that strategically, you know, if the combat system were a little bit more robust, you'd want to focus in on that healer. You know, if this were a turn-based RPG, for example, you would want to focus in on the healer and then, you know, just wreck shop on him or her so that you could stop him or her from keeping the rest of their team alive. You know, because I'm dropping. I mean, if you look at the damage I'm doing to these folks, it's pretty severe. But that healer is keeping them very much in the fight and keeping themselves very much in the fight. So, you know, but there's not really a whole lot I can do in the game to make this part not feel so cheap. So what you've probably heard complaint-wise, and I've said it in the last couple episodes, is that people complain that this game is quote-unquote cheap. Well, yeah, to a degree, these parts are kind of cheap. In my opinion, I tend to agree with that, but you can't assign that to the whole of the game. The entire game is not cheap. That's not really the way it works. It just has a couple parts that could be done better if it didn't handicap you as much. That's the way I'd say it. You know, and then the workaround that I've come up with, as you can see there in the bottom left-hand corner of the screen, and if you can't see it, I'll read it to you. I have 52 potions. I had 74 potions when I came to this. Dungeon, just to kind of give you an idea of what your boy's been experiencing while I'm here. So the bottom line is the game ebbs and it flows. It gives you kind of, okay, yeah, this is fun. I'm out exploring. I'm finding treasure. I'm killing stuff, yada, yada. And then I get to this storyline segment, that's what I'm doing here. This is a main story segment of this game. And it's like, man, I'm fighting these guys that when I got here were 3 levels higher than me. I've leveled twice since I've been in this cave. I think twice. I may have that off. It may have been once. But the point is, you're going to run into these points that feel cheap. Now, there is some finagling that you can do. You can go out to some of the further parts of the game and go beat some of the dragons that are flying around. But even the game kind of gets hip to you trying to level beyond what it wants to force you into. And in a lot of cases, like I flew around Broken Valley as the dragon, just trying to let dragons spawn from the dragon spawn machines, for lack of a better term. And I was just going to fight dragons all night till I leveled. But it doesn't let you. Like, it lets you level for a little while, but leveling scales in this game, which is minor frustration of mine, but I get why they do it. If they didn't do it that way, you could kind of beat the system, which I'm totally cool with, by the way. But some people aren't, and I'm cool when it doesn't let you beat the system. So I think it's in the best interest of developers to go with, the folks who would get angered by something like that happening, which is not me. So, make them really, really happy, make me, but I'm still going to play the game. So I think that's the right move for them. But anyway, that's how this game kind of plays out. You will get stronger, though. It's not always like this where you're struggling and trudging through these caves and you feel underpowered. There are going to be times where you feel overpowered. There'll be times where you feel it's just right. The game kind of has that ebb and flow, and that's really the point I wanted to drive home with this particular episode, is that quote-unquote ebb and flow. So I think this is where I need the key, and we are going to save because I'm sure somebody vicious and horrific is on the other end of the door. I don't know. Let's find out. I used the key successfully. All right. So I'm going to make them come to me. I'm going to make them come down this corridor and basically limit what they're able to do in terms of real estate. All right. That thing does not pose as great a threat. As long as they don't have a healer, I'm going to be in good shape. Get a potion. Yep. Use my healing spell. Now I will be perpetually healing. But see, now they have to come through that spot to deal with me, which means I can drop explosive arrows on them as they come through the door and hit everybody, except now they're ganging up on me, which you will get ganged up on. Believe that. Please believe you will get ganged up on in this game. As you can see, I barely made it out of there. I mean, it's just the way it's going to go. If you're going to play this game, you need to prepare yourself, unless you're going to do a lot of very creative leveling and kind of quote unquote beating the system. Prepare for these types of fights where you're going to have to retreat, get yourself together, come back and make it happen. All right. I'm using the wrong weapon. What's up, dog? My dexterity is extremely high. Even though he's a higher level than me, I should not be doing so little damage. That's something that does get frustrating. Like, I have put a lot of work into the archery skills of my character. The game should not be punishing me just because I'm one level lower than what I'm fighting. And there's your healer. Take care of the healer. Take care of the team. And put the poison on them so that their healing is offset by the poisons. Get a potion in there. You're hitting the wrong person. I need you to fight this bodyguard, please. Get another potion in there. There we go. See, she just healed him. But I had an explosive arrow that was able to make short work of him. Now I gotta wait for my mana skills to come back up, which means I gotta run. But you can shuck and jive, kind of dodge and move around these characters, man. You don't have to get hit. Are they giving chase? They are giving chase. Not quite enough, and then she's gonna heal him. All right, so let's see if your boy has something in his inventory that can address this lack of mana. Yes, I do. All right, so let's put that in slot number 1. No. I'm not trying to go back to the stupid tower. Come on. All right, so we need rejuvenating, I believe is what we need, right? Yes. Okay, so now I'll get some mana back. Good, the healer came out first. I think I took care of her. I think it's a her. And now I can just keep on moving. So I'm going to go a little over with this episode just so we can see what's beyond this door before we shut it down.
I can't.
Get into a little sword play. I got sword skills too, man. I am a well-rounded individual. Believe me. All right. Moment of truth. No healer, so now we can... I mean, without a healer, they're pretty much helpless. I mean, they outclassed me by a level, but I was still able to handle my business, and it looks up. One more person to put down. Let's put the poison on him. Now he can't rejuvenate, or excuse me, heal himself up. Let's go get this, the fat burn. I don't really need to go to a separate menu screen for that. Clean that up in the future, developers, will you? Just say, Roger, I got a fat fern. No need to make me go to another menu screen. Anyway, we're going to adjourn here, folks, and get ready for whatever's behind this door on the next episode. Thanks for coming along on the adventure with us. We'll see you on the next one. BC A7 Video signing off. Peace and God bless.